Hey brother! Captain Marvel is like a little more than a month away and I'm getting so excited. She looks so awesome. But seriously, have you seen her blasting off from Earth? The people over there at Marvel must love this shot because they are using it everywhere. Say something awesome. Build up the music. One final word. But obviously, without a doubt, the most epic single scene that the trailers have given us so far has got to be Nick Fury playing with the small cat.
Aren't you the cutest little thing? Aren't you cute? And what's your name, huh?
Fury.
What's cute?
Oh, it's so cute and so small and fluffy. Too bad it's totally gonna take his eye out. Speaking of cute cats, how about cute birds, or better yet, Angry Birds? Jay and I recently got to do a project with Angry Birds where we were voicing some of the characters and it was absolutely hilarious.
P-L-U-N-G-E-R with the plunger you'll go by.
If you'd like to see the whole video, we will put a link in the description down below, and also be sure to check out their latest series, Birds on the Run. It's kind of like a live action sequence where the birds enter the real world. I'll have a link to that in the description down below as well. But back to Captain Marvel and apparently Nick Fury's obsession with cats. Like, what's the deal? Hasn't he heard of dogs? Dogs are great. I have one. Her name is Indy, and her eyes are blue and a half. Either way, Carol Danvers has a cat and Fury loves it. Moving on. Or maybe not moving on. You may just think that this is like a cute little humorous scene that they give you to sort of juxtapose Fury's super serious demeanor with something cute and adorable. But let me tell you, I believe this cat is going to have a much bigger role in this movie than you are probably expecting. Like, I'm so certain that it's going to be a big deal that I almost feel like it's necessary to warn you that there are potential spoilers coming. Like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure. For one, the cat, Goose, has its own poster for the movie. I mean, look at this thing. What's up with that? Although, if I'm being entirely honest, I really hope that this is the one they put up at my local movie theater. So like when you walk up, you think it's maybe a cat movie, but it's really a superhero movie. What? If this is the one that they put up at your local movie theater, please take a picture with it and tag us on Twitter. Also, let's talk about the name for a second. Goose? Like, how hard did you hit your head when you fell through that blockbuster, Danvers? Like, you getting it confused with an actual goose? It's a cat. Geese, in case you need a refresher, Carol, are these annoying angry birds that just honk and poop all over your campsite where you're trying to have a fun time by the lake. Stinking geeses. No, I'm just kidding. The name Goose is of course a reference to the Top Gun character that the cat actually has striking resemblance to. And it totally makes sense with the fighter pilot aspect to this movie and the fact that Carol Danvers is a bit of a maverick herself. That being said, the name Goose is actually kind of an interesting decision for a completely different reason. In the comics, the cat's name is actually Chewie after Chewbacca from Star Wars. Again, I'm not really sure why they changed this though, because Chewie also has a lot of resemblance to the cat. And Chewie's partner in crime is of course Han Solo, who is also a bit of a maverick. Maverick is to Goose as Danvers is to Goose as Chewie is to Solo? I think I got the last two wrong.
Yes.
Either way, Goose is going to play a pretty big role in this movie because as it turns out, Goose isn't really a cat or a goose. Goose is a flurkin. Yeah, you heard me. A flurkin, as in, what the flurk is a flurkin? Now, odds are that word probably doesn't mean all that much to you other than like a word I bet at some point in time you actually invented like independently on your own as just like a something. Yeah, the thing over there next to the flurkin. And honestly, I can't say that I blame you. It is like barely even a word. A flurkin? Well, flurkins, or is it flurki? Flurks. What do you call a group of flurkins? The species of flurkin, found a way around it, was only recently introduced to the Marvel Universe under the current run of the Captain Marvel comics, wherein after being assigned to space, Captain Marvel obviously brings her cat with her. Shortly after, she meets up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Rocket, who has never met a cat before, immediately assumes that it needs to die because it is none other than a flurkin. A decision that Carol and most other pet owners would be none too happy with. Actually, the fact that this happens at all in the comics makes me super hopeful that we could potentially see one of the Guardians in the Captain Marvel movie. Obviously, since the movie takes place in 1995, they wouldn't be the team yet, the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I could totally see a situation where she like runs runs into Rocket and Groot running some kind of job. Or at the very least, it would be amazing if she made some kind of a reference to an Earth guy that she met and she nearly ripped out his thorax.
Right here, a Kree girl tried to rip out my thorax.
Please, please, please let that be the situation. Can you even imagine how fun it would be to see like Star-Lord and Captain Marvel meet later on in the Avengers movies, like with the knowledge that they've known each other in some capacity? Especially if it made like Gamora jealous somehow and all of a sudden you had Gamora versus Captain Marvel, like most powerful Avenger versus deadliest woman in the universe. Let's be real, that's the Civil War we really want to see. Too bad at least 2/3 of the people in this situation are presumed dead, so that can make things a little bit more complicated. And I think Star-Lord only would have been like 15 or 16 during the time that like Captain Marvel would have been around, so I don't know if that's a problem too, who knows? I'm sure they could find a way to make it work. I mean, they're in space, time, relativity.
Time works real different around these parts. On any other world, I'd be like millions of years old. But here on Sakaar,
Anyway, we do know that we're going to be meeting at least a couple of characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy series, including Korath and Ronan. Their appearances are pretty interesting because of this line from the trailers.
Skrulls are the bad guys, and you're a Kree, a race of noble warriors.
Right, yeah, okay. Then why is it the case that every Kree that we've ever met have all been bad guys? Because this movie is going to be full of misdirection. Skrull can like shapeshift, so we're not gonna know who anyone is. Trust issues are going to be abundant. We're all gonna be so busy trying to figure out which character is a Skrull in disguise, and none of us are going to see the Flurkin coming. Oh yeah, I don't think I've actually told you guys what a Flurkin is yet. Okay, so Goose obviously looks like a house cat because that's what Flurkins look like, regular house cats, but they're also actually super deadly. And not just if you have a severe pet allergy, they actually have like human grade intelligence, and also in their cheeks, they have, wait for it, try and guess, you'll never be able to, pocket dimensions. And yes, while I also agree pocket dimensions do sound adorable, you should be cautious because lurking inside of them, for lack of a better word, is tentacle nightmares. Yeah, look at this nonsense, just a bunch of tooth and scary, and this is why I have a dog. You really could just never trust a cat, and I think that's a lesson that one Nick J. Fury is gonna have to learn in this movie.
Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
I mean, let's face it, Nick just never seems to really trust anyone at all, and here we see him pretty chummy with a cat and 2 eyes. Enter Flurkin. Or probably actually enter some kind of Skrull shapeshifter that Nick thinks he can trust until they actually reveal themselves and then they get eaten by a Flurkin. But giant tentacle attacks aside, the other real power of Goose is going to be the pocket dimensions themselves. In the comics, they're actually able to use these pocket dimensions to transport anywhere in the galaxy. And they also act as kind of like a bag of holding where they can hold a lot more than what it might appear. So it's kind of like Hermione's bag from Deathly Hallows. Except also with the possible bonus that the contents of that bag may exist in another dimension as well. And the reason why existing in another dimension might be super important to the story is because if you're inside another dimension, could that possibly save you from the snap? Believe it or not, we might actually have some precedence for that in the way of Scott Lang. At the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, when the snap happens, you see all of his companions actually just fizzle into dust, but he is safe inside the quantum realm. Now, while it's not entirely clear if this is what saved him, I mean, after all, he has 4 in his team and 3 of them go down, so statistically you would think only 2 would have, so his survival really isn't all that surprising entirely. But on the literal flip side, he did survive and he was inside the quantum realm, so I don't know, that one maybe is just up to you. Now, the bigger reason why this is important, and it has less to do with the survival of the snap and more to do with answering the question of just where has Carol Danvers been up till now? At the very least, we know that the events of Captain Marvel are taking place 25 years before the events of Endgame, and I have a feeling when she shows up in Endgame, she's not going to have aged 25 years. You may be able to explain that away by being part Kree, and that prevents you from aging as quickly, but it may also be the case that time just works differently inside of a pocket dimension. And finally, the reason why I really like the idea of Captain Marvel simply hiding out in a pocket dimension and Fury having such a great relationship with the cat is, what if they did it? What if they planned it just in case this exact scenario. There is no doubt that Captain Marvel is insanely powerful, so where has she been this whole time? She would certainly give Thanos a run for his money. Well, think about it. The moment that Fury sees what is happening, he knows exactly what to do, and he has just the special beeper to make the call. It's almost like he's just been waiting for this to happen. This movie is literally just going to be riddled with like tiny little breadcrumbs that all kind of lead to this final idea of Thanos assembling the gauntlet, being able to create the snap, and somehow, some way, Fury and Captain Marvel know that they need to put her somewhere that she will be safe so that when the snap happens, she's able to come and help. Like, Ronan is in this movie, and we know who he ends up working for. Thanos. Thanos' plan isn't a secret. He's been carrying it out manually already. We know that by going back through Gamora's flashback when he wipes out half of her planet. Asgard is already protecting Nidavellir from Thanos, and the Tesseract is actively on Earth. They know that the snap is coming, and they know that they're going to need an ace in the hole. Or should I say, woman Flurkin's pocket dimension. It's a common expression, okay? And guys, there you go. That is my best explanation as to how Goose the cat is going to play a critical role in the entirety of the MCU. My question for you and everyone else is, what do you guys think? Is Goose going to be a normal cat or almost certainly a Flurkin? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the towel section down below. Did you know that we started a coffee company? Because we totally did. Go check out CarlinBrothersCoffee.com today to see all of the cool stuff that we have available there, including subscriptions, which actually allow coffee just to come directly to your door on a regular basis. Again, CarlinBrothersCoffee.com. There's a link in the description down below. But guys, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see some more Marvel action from us, you can click right up here to see which Infinity Stone represents each of the Avengers, or right here to figure out just how strong Thanos is without the gauntlet. But Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.